become involved in Scientology? What drew you to it?
I was about 20. It was 1975.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for answers to things, as young people tend to do, and I was very idealistic. And I met some people who were in Scientology and described it in a way that made it seem as if it would solve all my problems.
Mm-hmm.
I told them a little bit about what was happening in my life, and they told me that Scientology would resolve all of those things for me. So I thought that sounded pretty good. And that was how I first got into it.
Yeah. Did you have to go to a meeting first or something, or was that, how does one get into it?
There was a series of 4 free lectures given at a mission, which is one of the smaller, lower level organizations in Scientology. This was in Atlanta, Georgia. And the series of introductory lectures is at a very, very simple level, very basic concepts about communication, just really very commonsensical kinds of concepts, and really nothing that anybody would particularly object to, and things that struck me as being just what I was looking for.
Yeah. And so how did you pursue it?
So the next step in Scientology is to buy a course. So I did that. I bought a course, which was the next step up. Again, fairly basic concepts. And the whole process in Scientology is one of very, very gradual steps further and further into the organization. So, part of it also was that I was making friends at the same time, and I was starting to hang out with these people, and I got a job working with all of these people, and it's really a very all-encompassing kind of a philosophy, the organization encourages you to work with other Scientologists, to have friends with other Scientologists, not to talk to people who aren't Scientologists unless you're disseminating Scientology to them. And right away, as soon as I started to take my first course, my world began to change from what it had been before into a world with Scientology boundaries, basically. And again, it was a fairly gradual process, but within a few months, I didn't know anybody but Scientologists. I was thinking like a Scientologist. There's a whole language that is part of Scientology, which other people would have no way of understanding. You start to speak what is almost a foreign language. And because you're thinking in these concepts which are very foreign to anybody else, it's much easier just to talk to other Scientologists. It's much easier just to hang out with them. They're the only ones who really understand you. They're the only ones who you now begin to feel that they're the only other people in the world who really know what's going on. And everybody else is ignorant and in need of being told about Scientology and being brought into Scientology. And that's really what the world becomes for a Scientologist.
What is when you're initially getting involved in it, what is it that they're telling you? What is Scientology? How do they explain it?
The way it was explained to me, the first very simple description that I was given by a woman that I met at a restaurant was that after we had chatted a little bit, Scientology is a way of learning how to communicate better and get into control of your life. And for whatever reasons, just that little simple statement intrigued me and made me want to hear more. So I went to these lectures and I was told some very basic concepts about communication. One of the concepts is that there's a triangle, which is what communication is made out of. And the man delivering the lecture had a blackboard, and he would draw these concepts up on the board. And that particular concept is what they call the ARC triangle. It's a very basic Scientology concept. And basically, in Scientology, communication is composed of affinity, reality, and communication. And it's sort of all very formulaic. And if you want to increase your communication skills, then you have to increase one or the other of those particular aspects of your way of communicating. And it's all basically, it turns everything into a very mechanical process, basically. Communication becomes a very mechanical process. Everything that you're thinking, all of your thought processes become very mechanical. Scientology really is a synthesis of a lot of other schools of thought. It's not, I don't know that there's very much of it that was original thought. But what the founder of it, Hubbard, did was to make it one of the worst things that a Scientologist could do, to attribute any of these thoughts to anybody but him. So by the time you're in Scientology, if you weren't already very, very well educated on all of this background, you think that he's a genius. He's brilliant. He's come up with all of these incredible concepts and stuff, where in fact it was actually synthesized from a lot of other things.
Was he still alive when you joined the group? Did you ever get to encounter him? Or
No.
Was he a pretty rarefied personality at that point?
Well, he was already in hiding by the time I got into Scientology. He was being pursued by the IRS, and he had already been indicted in France, and he was found guilty of fraud and abstention in France, so he wasn't able to come out in public because of a lot of legal problems that were starting to pursue him.